Now I continue in 1 Timothy chapter number 3 and verse number 10. Now we're dealing with the qualifications of the deacon. And we saw in the program yesterday, holding the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience. And I think that that would reflect the idea that these men that are chosen as deacons are in a position of extreme confidence in the work of Jesus Christ, the substitutionary death, burial, and resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ as the only and the all-sufficient payment for man's sin, holding the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience. Now Paul goes on to say, verse number 10, and let these also first be proved, then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Let these also first be proved. Now I think that this brings us into something that is going on in modern society that I think that we need to be aware of. The matter of laying hands suddenly, as Paul said, on no man. Whenever Paul made that statement, he's not necessarily talking about getting into a fist fight, getting into a fisticuff with someone, but rather not immediately putting one stamp of approval upon individuals. Social media and the 24-hour news cycle has brought this very strange phenomena to us. It is interesting to me that a news story from last week might as well be like a news story from last year or from last decade among so many people in society today. I've heard people talk about things being out of style in my generation, and in the millennial generation, things move so rapidly that somebody says that's so yesterday. And literally, in the truest sense of the term, 24-hour day, that is so yesterday. The idea of putting one stamp of approval upon people or institutions or movements immediately is dealt with in this statement. Paul says, let these first be proved before anything else happens, before anything else in the order of time. It doesn't matter what kind of ability the man may have or what kind of financial position the man may be in, what kind of pull he may have in society. Before anything else takes place, before anything else takes place, let these first be proved. Now, that is something I think that is missing from our modern society. I've known of churches that would hear a man preach 2 sermons and then consider voting on him, and in some instances, indeed, vote on him to be the pastor of that church. There's been no time to learn the man. There's been no time to discern his personality, his method of ministry. I've never candidated for a church. I have done some filling in over the years, but I've never been put up for a vote in a church. And there are probably people that say, thank God he's never been put up for a vote. A church has never had to vote for him or against him. But, be that as it may, if I were candidating for a church, I would not candidate for a church for less than 6 weeks. I want at least 6 weeks. And I think in an ideal situation, I'd like to have 3 months. I'd like to have 3 months to preach to the people Sunday morning, Sunday night, teach the adult Sunday school, preach for prayer meeting on Wednesday night. And that gives me time to learn them, and it gives them time to learn me. Every preacher has 2 or 3 red-hot sermons that they can preach. If I'm only called on to preach one night in a meeting, We all have red hot sermons that we can bring. You can put your best foot forward. You can fake anything for a while. But over a period of time, you can't fake it anymore. Over a period of time, what you are and who you are is going to become revealed. And I want to stand before these people long enough for them to see me at my worst, but I need to see them at their worst. I need to observe them. Let these first be proved. Now this area of proving, and that's exactly what I've been talking about candidating, about preaching. I'd want some time to stand before the congregation. They need time to see me standing there and to hear me preach. But I need time to look at them. I need some time to observe them. Sometimes the first impression, though maybe a lasting impression, is not a true impression. The first impression sometimes is not a true impression of who that individual might be. Let these first be proved, and that simply means to try, to ascertain some unknown quality or some truth, and this can only be discovered by the area of experiment. If we're not going to prove anything, you would prove the effectiveness of gunpowder by experiment. You would prove the effectiveness of a drug or a medicine by experiment. You would prove the strength of a house or the strength of a building by experiment. It is to give an evidence. Whenever a man or a woman is proved, there is an evidence that is established to ascertain as a truth. A man may appear to be reliable when in fact he's not. But the only way that you would know a man is not reliable is by testing that, by proving that. Not one time, but over time. There has to be an evidence. You ascertain the genuineness or the validity of an individual or the validity of something. You verify something is fact. You know, Ronald Reagan used to say, trust but verify. Trust but verify when dealing with the Russians. It is to prove the reality or the genuineness of a particular thing. So whenever we say that a man has been proved, there is an experience. There is an experience that has been established here. And you and I can gain a certain knowledge by the operation of something. We can gain a knowledge by proving what we have before us. So Paul says concerning the matter of these deacons, let these also first be proved. Now that's the first thing that happens. In other words, lay hands suddenly on no man. You're not to lay hands suddenly on any individual. A man comes into the church and you are quite impressed by his deportment. You're quite impressed by his vocabulary. You're quite impressed by his wife and family, and it appears on the outside that this man is certainly above average and is above what we generally have in our church. You say we need to make him the Sunday school superintendent. We need to make him the chairman of the deacons. Paul says, no, you don't need to make him the chairman of the deacons. The first thing you need to do is let these also first, the first thing in the order of events, let these also first be proved. And over a period of time, if this individual does not prove himself, if what you saw in a first impression doesn't play itself out. You know, we have a lot of people that come in to our churches and we say, well, this is wonderful. We've gained a new member. We have somebody that's going to come in now and be a part of our church, and we're glad to have them. And they'll be there for 6 or 8 weeks, and then all of a sudden, they disappear. And the FBI, the Israeli Mossad, for that matter, the Russian KGB, can't find them. This is all to be discerned in the matter of let these first be proved. Then, after they are chosen or ordained as a deacon, then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Now, I'll have to deal with this matter on the program tomorrow. But in this matter of the word let them first be proved. That gives us the idea of permitting something to happen. You need to have time. Let these first be proved. There has to be some time. You don't need to be in as big a hurry as you appear to be in. You don't have to be rushing toward the goal and the direction that you appear to be going. You need to slow down. You need to allow some time, permit some time for these to be proved, suffer some time for these to be proved. That's why a courtship should not be short between a young man and young woman. A courtship, it won't hurt at all for courtship to be longer than shorter, because you can hide a lot of things. You can mask a lot of things, but you can't mask those things or hide those things indefinitely. My time is gone. By the grace of God, we'll continue with this on tomorrow.
Box 4, Greenville, South Carolina 29602. Be sure to